This is KBS World Radio, the overseas service of the Korean Broadcasting System, coming to you from Seoul, the capital of the Republic of Korea. We now begin today's English broadcast on KBS World Radio. From Seoul, Korea, KBS World Radio News starts right now. On today's broadcast, U.S. defense officials say North Korea's latest missile launch was a success. North Korea vows to strengthen its nuclear deterrence despite pressure from the international community. And FIFA's U20 World Cup soccer tournament opens in South Korea. This is KBS World Radio News. I'm Bruce Harrison. U.S. defense officials have told NBC News that North Korea's missile launch last Sunday was a success. Citing the unnamed officials, NBC said the KN-17 missile's re-entry into the atmosphere was controlled and it did not burn up. The missile landed in the sea near Russia. According to NBC, the officials characterized the launch as an advance in the North's missile program. The KN-17, NBC said, is a liquid-fuel single-stage missile. In state media, North Korea said it's a medium long-range ballistic rocket that can carry a heavy nuclear warhead. A day after the test, Pyongyang said the launch of the ground-to-ground strategic ballistic rocket, which it calls a Hwasong-12, was a success. U.S. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis says any military solution to the North Korea crisis would be tragic on an unbelievable scale, and Washington is working to find a diplomatic solution with the international community. In a news conference on Friday at the Defense Department, Mattis said the U.S. will continue to work with the UN, South Korea, China, and Japan to find a way out of the situation. Reuters news agency said that Mattis's remarks are one of the clearest indicators yet that the Trump administration will seek to exhaust alternatives before turning to military action to force Pyongyang's hand. President Moon Jae-in promised UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres that Seoul will work closely with the UN to end North Korea's nuclear weapons program. The two spoke on the phone for about 18 minutes on Friday. Moon said South Korea will use all means available to get the North to give up its nuclear weapons, including sanctions and dialogue. President Moon also spoke with European Union Council President Donald Tusk over the phone on Friday for 20 minutes. Moon expressed satisfaction in strategic ties with the EU and thanked Tusk for the EU's continued support for the dismantlement of North Korea's nuclear program. North Korea has vowed to further strengthen its nuclear deterrence, blasting greater U.S. pressure on the regime following its latest missile launch. Quoting a foreign ministry spokesman on Friday, North Korea's state-run Korean Central News Agency said Pyongyang will take additional steps to boost deterrence the more the U.S. misleads global opinion and dials up pressure against the North. The spokesman said fanatics within the Trump administration will thoroughly sanction any country, group, or individual supporting North Korea. It said the U.S. even lords over the United Nations by threatening to take issue with international organizations that support the North. The North's reaction indicates it will not give up its nuclear weapons despite assurance by U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson that Washington has no intention to seek regime change in North Korea.
You're now listening to the news from KBS World Radio's News Center in Seoul, Korea.
An official close to a delegation led by President Moon Jae-in's special envoy to the U.S. says Republican lawmakers are planning a visit to Seoul. According to the official, Republicans interested in making the trip as early as this month include Senator John McCain, the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, and Representative Mac Thornberry, the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee. Representative Ed Royce, the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and Senator Cory Gardner, the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Subcommittee on East Asia, will make the trip as well. Senator Bob Corker, the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, is also known to be considering a visit to Seoul. A South Korean delegation has met leaders of the European Union in Brussels and delivered a letter from President Moon Jae-in. At EU headquarters on Friday, the two sides also discussed North Korea's nuclear threat and stronger Seoul-EU relations. After meeting with EU Council President Donald Tusk, the head of South Korea's delegation, Special Envoy Cho Yoon-jae, spoke with Seoul's Yonhap News. Cho noted that Presidents Moon and Tusk will hold talks on the sidelines of the Group of 20 summit opening in Hamburg, Germany in July. In the letter to Tusk, Moon expressed hope to soon hold formal bilateral talks with Tusk in addition to their meeting in July. President Moon Jae-in has named Seoul Mayor Park Won-soon as his special envoy to the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN. The president's spokesman, Park Soo-hyun, said Friday that Mayor Park will visit the Philippines, the current rotating chair of ASEAN. He'll also visit Indonesia and Vietnam. The spokesman said Park will leave as soon as arrangements are made for his trip with those three countries. The spokesman said Park's appointment as envoy reflects his extensive personnel networks in Southeast Asia, which he established through his active diplomacy with major cities in the region. Expectations are rising. China may back off measures to punish South Korea's tourism sector in response to the deployment of the THAAD anti-missile system to South Korea. There have been signs retaliation may be easing since President Moon Jae-in took office and his new government sent a special envoy to Beijing. According to industry sources, Chinese travel agencies are preparing to send tourists to South Korea as soon as the government ban on Korean travel products is lifted. Some travel firms in China have even resumed visa services for Korea. An industry official said Chinese travel agencies are reopening Korean tour departments and formulating Korea tour packages. Another official said the Chinese government's attitude hasn't changed, but there do appear to be moves within China signaling gradual change. That official said it would still take 2 to 3 months for tour products to be sold, even if sanctions are lifted now. The FIFA U20 World Cup kicks off Saturday in host nation South Korea for 3 weeks of competition of football's young rising stars. The matches will be held through June 11th in 6 cities in South Korea, including Suwon, Incheon, and Jeonju. Korea has now hosted all of the 4 major FIFA tournaments, including the Confederations Cup in 2001, the 2002 World Cup, and the U17 World Cup in 2007. 24 nations are taking part in the U20 World Cup for a total of 52 matches. South Korea belongs to Group A with Argentina, England, and Guinea. South Korea plays Guinea in the tournament opener at 8 p.m. Saturday at Jeonju World Cup Stadium in Jeonju, North Jeolla Province. A study shows that married South Korean women's views on marriage have changed significantly this century. According to a report released Saturday by the Korea Institute for Health and Social Affairs, 19% of married women aged 15 to 49 believed marriage was necessary in 2000. That figure dropped to 11.5% in 2015. And that's the news from KBS World Radio's News Center in Seoul. I'm Bruce Harrison.
Yeah. You ready? Let go. 즐거움이 활짝 새로움이 가득 찬 이 노래 들어봐요. 우리 모두 즐겨 듣는 가로이 노래 사랑해 함께 즐겨요.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Saturday Mailbag Show, KBS Listeners Lounge, coming to you from Seoul, the capital of South Korea.
It's Saturday, May 20th, 2017, and as always, we've got the latest listeners' letters, messages, and reports we've received from you coming right up.
So please stay tuned. I'm Lawrence Taylor.
And I'm Karen Choi. We'll be right back.
Hi Karen.
Hi Lawrence.
How are you today?
I'm good. It's great to be here in the studio with you doing Listeners Lounge.
Yeah, for those of you who may have missed last week's show, Jian is on vacation for the next couple of weeks, so Karen generously agreed to fill in for her while she's gone. Jian actually mentioned to me that you had hosted the show for quite some time in the past.
Yeah, I think it's been a while. I think I was gone for maybe about a year. Jian's been hosting for about a year, but I was here for maybe about 2-3 years before that. So it's been a while. So it's been over a year since I've been away, but I feel like I'm kind of learning everything new all over again, even though it's just for the next couple of weeks.
Well, we can definitely learn together then. It's definitely a fun show to be a part of.
It definitely is. You know, I miss the most about this program. What I've missed the most about this program is actually being able to communicate with our listeners. So I'm looking forward to getting in touch with some of our dear listeners, our friends from all over the world.
Sounds great. Now, speaking of people from all around the world, today is Together Day in Korea, designated to celebrate diversity and multiculturalism in the country.
Right. So Korea was formerly a mostly homogenous nation, but that, of course, is no longer true. So in 2008, the government founded Together Day, or 세계인의 날, to be celebrated annually on May 20th.
The goal of the day is to bring people of different backgrounds together and raise awareness of diversity, as well as garner understanding and respect for one another.
And not only did the day fall on a weekend this year, but it's also the 10th anniversary of the special day, so it's expected to get extra festive. Between today and tomorrow, commemorative events are set to be held in several districts in Seoul, as well as in other cities like Incheon, Ansan, Daejeon, Gwangju, Yeosu, Daegu, Busan, Ulsan, and of course Jeju, just to name a few. That's all around the country.
Yes, almost every city, right?
Yeah.
Many of these events will feature not only ceremonies and concerts, but lots of good food, cultural events, and even award shows too, which celebrate outstanding foreign citizens.
Sounds like it's a lot of fun. So have you been to any of the cities that we just mentioned?
Actually, I've been to most of them. I went to Yeosu a couple of weeks ago, and I always enjoy going to Jeju. It's almost like a different country. It's very tropical. You have the palm trees.
Yeah.
What about you?
I remember when I first went to Jeju, I was in middle school, and I remember thinking, this is not Korea. It's a different country.
Yeah.
I actually grew up in Daejeon, and we go there very often. But if I could choose one of those cities to go to for a festival, I think I would really choose Busan. It's a fun city, and I don't go there as often as I wish. And I think it would be a really nice time of the year to visit, even though I don't think I would be able to swim in the ocean quite yet.
I've always liked Busan too. It's especially good in the autumn. When it starts to cool down here in Seoul, you can just hop on the KTX and enjoy the warmer weather down there.
Yeah. So if any of our listeners are actually in Korea this weekend, you should definitely look up what kind of Together Day celebrations are taking place near you, since they're sure to be some probably taking place right next to you. In the meantime, we are going to take a break now, but we will be right back with this week's letters and reports, so don't go away.
You're listening to KBS Listeners Lounge on KBS World Radio. It's time now for us to take a look at the listener letters and reception reports. As usual, we've received some fantastic handwritten, typed up, and emailed comments, letters, and reception reports from you, our listeners, and we'll share some of those with you on this program.
Well, before we get to our reception reports for this week, we had a package that was sent, that we sent to our listener Chi Mai in the U.S., and it was returned to us recently, and we think there might have been a mistake in the address.
There was a package for a gift that we sent out as our first quarterly quiz. We posted up a picture of Yuna packaging them on our Facebook page, and the post got a great response. The gift was a very nice eco bag featuring the mascot for the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people at the office were eyeing the gifts themselves. Chimai, if you are listening, maybe you can confirm your address with us again so we can try sending it to your correct address this time.
Right, okay. Taking a look at the email that our official monitor Giorgio Romanin from Udine, Italy, he wrote to us on May 15th. And Giorgio sent us a weekly reception report for the week ending on Saturday, May 12th.
He listened to us on 2 different frequencies, 9.515 megahertz at 1600 hours UTC and 7.275 megahertz at 1800 hours UTC from Monday through Friday. And both of the frequencies, of course, match the broadcasting times for our English language broadcast.
Unfortunately, Giorgio said he was not able to hear us at all on 7.275 megahertz, but rated the overall merit as 3, so fair, for all of the days he listened to us on 9.515 megahertz. He noted that there was a slight interference, while the signal strength was good to fair for most days.
Well, it is unfortunate that he was unable to hear us at all on 7.275 megahertz, but kept trying to listen nonetheless. So thank you so much for your report. We hope you are doing well, and we would love to hear back from you soon.
Our loyal listener and official monitor, Nick Sharp of the UK, sent us a number of reports throughout these past few weeks. He's been very consistent in giving us feedback about our programs and reception conditions, and of course we are always very grateful for your contributions.
Of course. And Nick uses a Yaesu Musan FRG 8800 receiver with an external 15-meter L-shaped long wire antenna that is 2 meters above ground. He also has a Yaesu Musan FRT 7700 aerial tuning unit, which may help with reception conditions.
For May 4th, Nick tuned in on 11.810 megahertz at 2200 hours UTC, and he rated the SINPO 35444, so overall fair.
And he commented, it's another chance to hear a direct broadcast from your country with a signal strength of S9 with little in the way of another station to cause interference, but I can hear some noise in the background.
Nick gave us details about the program by the minute and thanked us for the QSL cards that he received. He also requested a printed frequency schedule, which I'm sure is probably already on its way. If not, we'll make sure to remind Una to send one out for you.
Right. Now, for the same frequency on May 7th, Nick mentioned that the reception conditions started off strong with a strong signal, but towards 2210 hours UTC, the fading and some co-channel interference made listening rather difficult and unpleasant.
Thank you for being detailed, as always, Nick. We will make sure to keep note of these conditions for our technical staff. We look forward to hearing more from you soon.
Our dear listener and official monitor, Dewan Rafiqul Islam, the president of Friends Radio Club in Bangladesh, sent us a number of reception reports for May by email, and here is his message to us.
He said, I like to listen to your 1-hour broadcast on Sundays. The mix of news, features and music is very enjoyable and informative. I always enjoy the music and the listener letters. It is great to know that there are still many people all over the world listening to shortwave using radios, both old and new. The staff and presenters at KBS do a wonderful job, and your efforts are enjoyed by many people. Thank you all very much.
Well, thank you very much for that. Dewan said that he heard our programs Touch Base in Seoul and Listeners Lounge on May 6th at 1400 hours UTC on 9.880 megahertz, saying the signal was poor in Nowgaon, Bangladesh, with interference by China Radio International and no noise.
Checking our broadcasting time and frequencies, we do not have any English language broadcasts on 9.880 megahertz at 1400 hours UTC, day one, and we're thinking that perhaps you might have been confused with 7.215 megahertz at 1400 hours UTC. That is our English language broadcast targeted towards India.
Right. So Dewan actually listened to us on a number of days. He heard us on May 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And knowing that he is our official monitor, and he also considering the fact that he had the names of our programs like Touch Base in Seoul and Listeners Lounge, he also mentioned Seoul Calling and KPI, as well as the contents of the program written incorrectly. I'm assuming that he just made a mistake with the frequency numbers.
Well, thank you for your email and reports. And if you are listening, day one, could you please take the frequency number to make sure and let us know? Unfortunately, we won't be able to send you a QSL QSL verification card until we can confirm the correct frequency, so we hope to hear back from you soon. Next up, we'll look at the letters and reception reports we received in the mail this week.
Well, it's always exciting to get something in the mail, especially in this day and age when we are so accustomed to using the internet or our mobile device. In any case, here is our first letter from Gertrude Eklof of Sweden. Have we heard from this listener before?
I believe this is the first time I have heard from Gertrude, but of course they may have been in touch before I started. Anyway, here is what Gertrude wrote. Dear friends, I had the pleasure of hearing your station on 9.515 megahertz in March 2017 from 1600 to 1630 hours UTC. The program was in English and broadcast by Radio Korea International of KBS. At 1600 hours UTC, the news was in English about the presidential election, Stephen Hawking, a flash festival in Seoul, and news about new collections. Thank you for your transmission. I like your program very much, and I will certainly listen to your station again. Your verification would be very much appreciated. Friendly regards, Gertrude.
Well, thank you for your kind letter, Gertrude. 9.515 megahertz at 1600 hours UTC does match our frequency for our English language broadcast, so we will definitely send you a QSL verification shortly. And I believe Radio Korea International is a very old name for KBS that was used in the past, which makes me think that Gertrude may actually be a long-time listener of our programs.
Right, we would love to hear more from you and perhaps how you first started listening to KBS if you have a chance to get back to us soon. It's always a lot of fun to hear about our listeners and how they first started tuning into our programs or how they got interested in shortwave radio.
Right. Sometimes there are listeners who have been listening to us for years and years, like decades. So it's always interesting to hear their stories. So if you're listening, Gertrude, please let us know. Our next letter comes from Stephen Hogan of New South Wales, Australia. It's dated April 25th, 2017. He writes, Dear friends, warm autumn greetings from your Australian friend and listener Stephen, where the autumn trees are shedding their leaves and the weather is still mild and pleasant, and temperatures are around 17 to 20 degrees Celsius. The forecast for tomorrow is a wet day and cooler temperatures as the week goes on. I hope this letter and report finds you all well and peace will prevail in your part of the world. I sent KBS a letter and report on February 15th, 2017, and to date a reply has not been received. If a reply has been sent, many thanks and hoping to receive a reply soon. I'm going along well here and enjoying my shortwave listening. I always thought it was interesting that Australians say, I'm going along well, I'm going well, instead of saying, I'm doing well.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that before.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway, Stephen also sent a report for Sunday, April 2nd, 2017. He tuned in at 1800 hours UTC on 7.275 megahertz, and his SINPO rating was 3s across the board, so overall fair. He used a Yaesu FRG 8800 receiver with an outdoor long wire antenna. He gave us a lot of details about the programs that went on air, such as the news, Touch Base in Seoul, and Listener's Lounge.
And about the reception conditions, Stephen said, reception conditions continue to range from poor to good. All your programs and news services continue to rate highly. Your presence on shortwave bands is appreciated, and I wish continued success to KBS and all involved. I look forward to hearing from you again soon, and thank you for all your past replies to me. Best wishes, health, and peaceful skies for your part of the world.
Well, here in Korea, we're in spring, headed towards summer, but it's always interesting to hear about the weather conditions in other parts of the world. So thank you very, very much for sharing that with us, Stephen.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to imagine the shedding leaves and fall foliage right now when it's so sunny and warm here in Korea.
Right, that's very nice today as well.
Yeah.
We'll also make sure to get a QSL verification card sent to you ASAP. Thank you so much for your report and letter. It's always a great pleasure to hear from you, and we hope to hear back from you very soon.
And please continue to inform us of the reception conditions from the land down under. Now, our loyal listener and official monitor, Fumito Hokamura of Japan, sent us a number of letters and reception reports over the past few weeks, as he always does.
His reports were dated April 28th and April 29th, and he tuned in on 9.580 megahertz at 0200 hours UTC. He rated the SINPO 45333, giving us details of the program content. He also said he enjoyed our programs, but the shortwave reception conditions were poor.
Well, he also mentioned that he would like to listen to the Spanish and Russian services as well, and he wanted us to send him a timetable for the Korean, Spanish, and Russian language services.
Well, we'll certainly send you a printed copy of our broadcasting and frequency timetable. Our timetable shows the broadcasting time and frequencies for all of the 11 languages broadcast here by KBS World Radio.
That's right. And you can also check out the schedule on our website at world.kbs.co.kr under How to Listen, which shows you a variety of different ways that you can tune into us.
Another listener from Japan also sent us a mail recently. It's Hiroshi Nakagawa from Tokyo, Japan. His letters are dated May 2nd and May 3rd. And include reception reports for April 23rd and May 3rd.
Right. Hiroshi said that he tuned in at 9.580 megahertz at 0200 hours UTC on both days, and the language was in English. He used an ELPA ERC57WR receiver with a rod antenna. The simple rating for April 23rd was 54444 to 43433. So overall, good to fair, and 55444 on May 3rd. So overall good.
He wrote on April 23rd, I like KBS Listeners Lounge. Some letters from listeners worldwide were introduced. It is fun to imagine that many people worldwide are still enjoying your content, not only by radio, but also via the internet or other tools at the same time.
On May 3rd, he wrote, I like Soul Calling. It is fun to learn each topic introduced in this program. Although they may not be suitable for a news program, it is interesting for me to know them, to get a sense of what happens in your country. As far as I know, I have never heard of these topics in your Japanese program.
Hiroshi also added, if the details in this report correspond with your station log, I would appreciate to receive your verification QSL.
Well, I think what Hiroshi mentioned about Soul Calling is why a lot of our listeners enjoy listening to the show. There is KBS News for the important issues and urgent updates, but Soul Calling tries to give more information on the lifestyle and cultural news that would normally not be in the headlines.
I also want to mention that Hiroshi wrote out our address in Korean on the envelope, and it looked amazing, certainly much neater than my own attempts at writing Hangul. He also gave us a lot of details about what he heard, and it sounded like he was able to hear us pretty clearly. Thank you so much for your detailed report, and we look forward to hearing back from you very soon. Your QSL should be on its way.
Taking a quick look at the online reception reports, Stefano of Italy sent us a reception report for May 1st. He says he is a freelancer and used a Yaesu FT767GX receiver to tune into us on 9.515 megahertz at 1600 hours UTC, and he rated the SIMPO 53443.
Well, we have a lot of freelancers working here at KBS, so we'd love to hear more about you and what you do. Thank you very much for your report.
That is all the time we have for our letters, emails, and reception reports from you today. We will be sure to send out the corresponding QSL cards to everyone who requested.
That's all we have for you this week on KBS Listeners Lounge. We hope you enjoyed the show. This has been Lawrence Taylor.
And this has been Karen Choi. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in to KBS World Radio. KBS World Radio is Korea's flagship international broadcaster, airing in 11 different languages. The English service of KBS World Radio broadcasts 2 hours a day for various media outlets, including shortwave radio, satellite radio, and internet. Visit our website at world.kbs.co.kr, where you can stream all of our content on our internet radio Wink by tuning into various channels like Wink 24 and Wink Music. Wink is also available on mobile if you download our on-air app onto your mobile phone. Visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/EnglishKBS or follow us on Twitter at KBS.